And just as I was formulating a plan, I felt a hand on my shoulder, but I was home alone. And this calming, peaceful voice said, "You need to snap out of this. You're here for a purpose and you're here for a reason. And things are going to get better."
Daniel, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
I'm so very excited too. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it is my pleasure. So I want to ask you, I want to start because I have so many questions for you, but I want to start with the fact that you're a medium. That to me is fascinating. When did you discover that you had this ability?
Well, I had different abilities when I was a kid, really kind of seeing things that most people don't believe in, spirits and things like that. So it freaked me out when I was little, and I kind of pushed it down. I shoved it away, and as I grew up and got older, I started becoming more and more interested in paranormal things again. I had the intuition. I had the sensitivity. I knew I was an empath, but I didn't know what the word was. And so I've, spent my life thinking there was something wrong with me. I could go into a room and feel the energy before anything was said, and pick up on energies of the departed if I ever went into a haunted place. But I never had a word for it until recently, and that's being an empath. Also, in my journey, I started to play around with pendulums, and this is one of many that I have. This is a beautiful amethyst one that I have. I've got at least 2 dozen. I learned that I can communicate with spirit. Started with doing yes and no. I can do a little demonstration right now.
Awesome. Get a
And
question?
yes, you can. And you can ask actually deeper questions more than a yes and no because I have several of these as well. I have full on conversations.
Wow. So, what are some of the questions that you would ask or somebody would ask?
You can ask something like, ask if you're on the right path.
Oh, okay. Oh, I would love to. Yes. Am I on the right path?
So let's see if I can get this on camera here.
Oh, God, this is nerve wracking. Is my show on the right path?
I'm speaking with Archangel Zadkiel now. Zadkiel, is Susan on the right path? And is her show on the right path as well? It's giving me a yes. Do you have a
Oh,
mess? Do
thank
you have
you.
tell Susan
Yeah.
she is doing fantastic work.
Oh,
I I hear it as well as it's spelling out. I can hear it in my head, like other voices speaking to me. So you're doing fantastic work. God is pleased that you've chosen this. Anything else?
no. Thank you so much.
Still talking to me here. Sorry, it's closing the session now.
Oh my God, that was fascinating.
So Zadkiel is an archangel. She comes across as female. I work with her a lot. She gives really, really, really strong energy. There's times when I'm speaking to different angels and different spirits that it feels like there's actually when I first started, this would kinda go wildly all over the place, and
Okay.
there's times when I'm really grounded and centered and focused. It feels like something is pulling on the bottom and, like, actually pointing it directly to each letter, like so I use boards, I also use them to pick out oracle cards to do readings for people. That's been pretty interesting as far as how, much the cards that I pull through this guidance really resonate with the people I'm doing them for.
Now, let me ask you, when you do this, is this part of your coaching or is this another section of what you do?
Coaching really is just about asking the right questions and not pushing people, but gently guiding them. So, say you're having a really bad day today and I were to come up to you and say, "What's wrong?" and you'd be like, "Nothing." I would know that you're not okay. And there's times where you just I do this a lot with my wife. She's like, "Nothing's wrong," or "I don't know what's wrong." But I'm like, "Well, there's definitely something wrong." And sometimes I'll let it lie, and other times you just try to probe a little deeper. So, being an empath, the big thing is really first shielding my energy so I don't over absorb what other people are feeling, because that happens a lot. Like, I want to develop more experiential mediumship where I would go up in front of a gallery of people and have, one person come up to from spirit come to me and say, I have a message for so and so. I go to a spiritualist church where that's a big part of the service is going through mediumship, and the pastor, she keeps coming up to me and she's like, "Do you wanna come up and do this? I see this group of people behind you that are raising their hands, and I see, this light when you walk into the room," and it's just for me, even if I do try to do a little energetic protection, when I walk into the building that's in, it feels like every single spirit that's around there, because it's the energy in there from everybody else is so charged and so high. They see me come in and they're like, "Yay, he's here," and then they, like, all crowd me, and I just feel it, and it's sometimes it gets really overwhelming because after a while when you have, like, 30 spirits trying to get your attention at once, it's noise, and it's just like a vibration inside your head. So I've been up to this point kinda like, "No, I'm not really ready to do that yet." Hopefully, someday I'll be able to say, "Hey, step back one at a time." I'd be happy to send messages.
So
Um,
let me ask you about, because I know you work with a lot of sensitive people and you work with a lot of empaths. So I have two questions. One is, how do sensitive people, how do they protect their energy when they walk into rooms? Because you were talking about that. Is there any specific things that they can do so that they can stay grounded and that they don't absorb all of these energies? Because sometimes we walk into rooms that we don't wanna be in, and there's negative energy there. So how do sensitive people protect themselves?
what I suggest people do is just kinda close their eyes and take a few deep breaths, 4 seconds in, hold it for 4 seconds out, and do that a few times, and as you're doing that with your eyes closed, picture like a white light bubble surrounding you and say, I'm here, I'm grounded, I'm protected," and just the key is really believing it. You need to you need to see things first in your mind before it comes true, so before you'll see it play out in the real world. So believing you you'll see it when you believe it, not I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, I got
So
it.
as far as energy protection goes, create thresholds is my next suggestion. You say to yourself, if you're about to walk into any room, anything that I'm carrying right now that doesn't belong to me, this is the threshold. And you put your hand literally on the threshold of the door that you're walking into and say, what's with me now that's not mine to carry exits here. And then, you know, you're grounded already and have that protection as you go in, and yeah, of course, an empath, no matter what they do, will start to leak their energy and grab other people's energy, and it becomes overwhelming after a while. Um, and that shows up can show up immediately, or it can show up later when they go home and they're replaying conversations, the things that were said, the things that were not said that should have been. All that is just different energies from different people that we tend to hold on to and carry without realizing we're doing it.
So, do you think that all empaths or very sensitive people, do you think that they have a heightened gift to talk to the spirit world, or do you think they're just sensitive?
We all have the gift to speak to the spirit world. The way I look at things is we arrive here as extensions of source energy. however you wanna name it, God, Allah, the universe. In essence, God made us in His image because God's image is light and love. It's not an old man sitting in the cloud in the sky, and it's our souls, not our bodies, that are made in His image, and unfortunately, through the centuries, man decided to make God into their image.
Mm.
Like, this is what so many people, and I guilty, of course. I used to think this was who I am, not the fact that what's in here, the love, the gratitude, the alignment is what God is, and that's what we all are. So, we all arrive as extensions of Source. We grow up still as extensions of Source, but over time, we start to forget that through conditioning, through, phrases like, "Who do you think you are?
Oh,
What do you
oh.
think you're doing? Don't do that. This is dangerous. You can't do that." So conditioning through parents, through teachers, through friends, through the beliefs that they were passed down and gets passed down from generation to generation, which seriously is finally starting to lose its grip. More and more people are really realizing that we are more than this body. We're more than this life. I'm not going to say like, oh, we're living in the matrix, but we are. We adapt to survive from these conditionings and things that happen to us where, as say, as a little child, you really desperately want something. So you go and ask for it, and then you get put down or belittled or yelled at, or, just even things as simple as, you get a new toy for Christmas and you're super excited. And then your mom's like, well, no, you got to share that with your brothers, or,
Mhm.
that no matter how innocent things may seem or comments may seem, it leaves an imprint on us. And each one of those imprints turn into what a lot of psychologists and people call traumas. And that's just basically those shadow selves, those inner children freezing at that exact moment and putting up a barrier around them, like, okay, I can't show my true self. I can't be my true nature. I can't, if I ask for things, I'll get ridiculed, or I'll get yelled at, or I'll be punished, or there'll be consequences. If go someplace and say, something like me, I'm a medium, I talk to spirits, I've seen ghosts. I was always way too afraid to talk like that because of fear of being ridiculed, or fear of
Sure.
worse, being put in a straitjacket and sent to the loony bin. So really the secret, people so many times are like, what's the secret of life? What's the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to come in as extensions of Source, forget everything that we've brought with us through the conditioning that we chose to be a part of, and find ourselves back to that.
Yeah. So let me ask you, you touched on trauma. You had said that all of these little aggressive behaviors towards us from when we were children to adulthood are traumas. So through your coaching, what are some of the methods or methodologies that you have to help people get past all of these traumas and get back into alignment so they can become their true selves?
The way I work things and the way I see things is that there's 3 main pieces in our lives that are the root cause of everything, and I call them silent survival imprints or patterns. And what they are is, like, you don't feel safe even existing in some parts of our lives, and that creates protection in our nervous systems, like, "Oh my god, I did this and I almost died. I'm not gonna try anything stupid ever again." And, of course, that's a good thing at times. Then there's the fear of showing up authentically. And then the third one is the safety in desiring, attracting your desires and working for them because of consequences that have happened throughout our lives when we've tried to be authentic, when we've tried to say, gain some kind of desire. So the best way to work through things and what I do is somatic breath work, where through questioning we go from I'm really upset because this happened and this didn't happen. And I'm a failure because of all this. So you gotta peel it back like an onion layer by layer. And so it's like when people have the thoughts that they're failing and they're a failure because they've tried and didn't succeed, you gotta peel it back and show them or have them think of examples themselves of different times in their life that was proven wrong, that they're not a failure. And you peel it back and you peel it back and you just say, what's the core emotion here? Is it fear? Is it anger? Or, you know, I can't remember the other one. There's like three main little emotions. And when you hit the root cause, I work with people. I've experienced too many traumas in my life to even mention. And I know what it's like to carry them for years and years and years and years. And I know how traumatic it can be to crudely just pull it from the root and expose it. So the key to people with different trauma aspects and with shadow work in general is taking gentle steps. So I, through questioning, guide people back to one of the three main emotions and one of the three main survival patterns that show up in different ways. And then through body work and breath work and focus and intention, when you say something, when you bring up something from your past that doesn't feel good, didn't feel good, that hurt you, it always shows up somewhere in your body. And the key is to really notice where it is, because when you notice where it is, you can breathe through it. You breathe through it until the feeling starts to dissipate. And once it starts to dissipate, you don't stop, you keep going and just affirm positive things about what the situation. I have people reframe their stories from why is life happening to me to how is this for my highest good, no matter what?
Mm.
Because really, in every circumstance, everything that happens, no matter what, is according to plan. And it's was supposed to happen. And, once you focus on that, you see where it settles, you breathe through it. And as that feeling goes away, I like to tell people to then put their hand on their heart, take a couple more deep breaths, and say, thank you for the lessons that you taught me. And thank you for protecting me all these years. But I'm grown up, I'm strong now, and I don't need you to protect me anymore. So it's kind of working with the inner children saying, it's over now, it happened. You can lower your walls, you can lower your defenses, and you can start playing and you can show up as that little kid again. I won't let anything happen to us ever again. And then forgiveness is really the key too, as they're thinking this, they say to themselves, I forgive myself for everything unconditionally on this timeline and all others.
Wow, that's
And
deep.
even just saying that myself right now, I feel, lightness in my solar plexus area.
Tell me about the people who've done this, the people that you've helped. Have you had anybody that you've helped where it really moved you or it moved them?
Yeah, I've had experiences where, when they finally can name the issue and feel where it settles and know they're safe enough to release it, it brings up different emotions. I've had people cry, I've had people laugh, just relief, and they all say the same thing. It feels like my soul got lighter and the fog that's been around me for years is lifted.
It's beautiful. So, how about for you? Now that you can commune, is and you had said you had been through so many traumas in your life. Do you feel lighter?
I do because I like to say, we all have somewhat of a negative voice in our head
Sure,
telling
of
us we can't
course.
do things. And if you think about it, for me, the voice was never my voice. It was always something like darker and gravelly and mine. I like to call mine the inner a-hole.
I like that.
And the inner a-hole for me was so loud for so long that I really honestly considered ending my life a few times. Like I said, I don't have anything that I'm not willing to touch in my life because if my story can save one person, I've done my job. So, yes, I've contemplated it for several times over the years. I've gone through hell and back with my ex-wife and custody of my now 20-year-old son. I've gone through hell and back finding out that I wasn't meant to do certain jobs, and I still was so entrenched in survival mode that I would do whatever it took to try to earn a couple dollars and then just be devastated when I was laid off. And for me, the real tipping point was in 2012. I lost a job, so I couldn't pay child support. So my ex wife, may she rest in peace, withheld me the ability to see my son again, which she did a lot. She used him as a weapon. And the woman that I had been living with at that time, it turns out that she was spending her rent money on booze.
Jeez.
And I came home from like losing another job to an empty house. She took all her stuff and she left a note on my coffee table.
My.
So that's when I was really at my darkest point. By this time I didn't know I was like 2 months behind on rent because I thought she'd been taking care of it.
Sure.
I lost, being able to even speak to my son on the phone, who back then, he was 7. Seeing that note, finding out that I was 2 months behind on rent, so I was gonna be evicted. So I was childless, relationshipless, jobless, and now facing homeless. And I sat on my couch and literally it felt like there was a veil hanging over me as dark as night. And I just started crying. And that voice, this is it. This is your time to end it. Just fricking do it. Do it now. And I didn't know how to stop it at that time. It was growing louder and louder and louder and tears, and I was shaking and just thinking, "Okay, what can I do right now to actually accomplish that task?" And just as I was formulating a plan, I felt a hand on my shoulder, but I was home alone, but I felt a hand, and this the a-hole finally shut up, and this calming, peaceful voice said, "You need to snap out of this. It's okay. This is for a purpose. You're here for a purpose and you're here for a reason. And things are going to get better." And I have asked some of the angels and things, what happened that day. And they all said, and my deceased relatives that I speak to, they all said the same thing, that Jesus came and touched me and said everything's fine. And just like that, I went from this complete darkness, like a storm cloud just literally over my head, to feeling lighter, seeing things more brightly, and I had no thought of harming myself in any way ever since.
That is the most remarkable story I think I've ever heard. Wow. So, have you spoken to Jesus or has Jesus come through you? Because you had mentioned the archangel earlier in our conversation, but have you talked to any of the other ascended masters like Buddha or Jesus or
Jesus has come to me numerous times. Gabriel once in a while, Raphael, uh, Ragiel, Zadkiel, Azrael, and Michael works with me a lot.
that?
Plus,
To me is so fascinating.
really, it is to me too. I can sit here for hours just so focused on my divination that it feels like 5 minutes, but really it's been 3.5 hours.
So, let me ask you, is there any reoccurring theme that the ascended masters are saying to you, coming through you, saying to the world so that we could all evolve? Because I feel like so many of us are opening up
Mhm.
to spirituality. I feel like we're moving away from dogmatic religions and we're becoming more enlightened. But is there any message that these ascended masters keep saying to you where you're like, "I need to get this out. I need more people to hear it."
Yeah, and at first I thought it was all just for me, but it's not. It is for the world. They tell me a few different things almost every single time. Faith is a superpower. Trust your intuition is the one that I hear the most. And love is the greatest power and will conquer all, including what's going on in the world right now.
Wouldn't that be nice if we stopped having so many wars and that we would all just get along? We're so divided.
Yep.
Wow, I love that. So let me ask you one final question while I have you. Because it is the 5 flavors of happiness. So how has your happiness changed knowing everything that you know, having gone through so much? What is happiness to you?
Happiness really this is just from the last year I can say this part. Happiness is knowing that my father, who passed away 1 year ago last week, is not gone. Happiness is knowing that while his body is not here, I know he's right here. I can feel him right now, actually. Happiness is knowing that I get to speak to him when I really feel that I need his help, and I can picture him as I'm talking to him through my board here and with my pendulums. And happiness is knowing that there is no end. And happiness is knowing that anything but love, any energy that we feel that isn't love, say fear, say anger, say hatred, isn't our true selves, and it's not our feelings, it's the collective energy of the negativity around us. Yep.
So negative energy is our energy?
Mhm.
Help me
Yeah.
understand.
Okay, so I said earlier that at our true selves, our true essence, our higher self is an extension of God, and God is love.
Mhm.
And anger, frustration, hate, and all that those things don't exist on in that other plane. And I've gotten this from people that I'm gonna open another can of worms here. I help stuck souls cross over too. And I hear it a lot that they're stuck between the planes of existence because of fear, because of anger, because of hate, and because of a lack of forgiveness.
Forgiveness of
Themselves and
themselves?
whomever it may be that have hurt
Okay,
them.
that they've wronged. Okay.
Yeah, and that they've wronged and that they've been wronged by.
Okay.
And, this is a message too that I think is really important and needs to be said out loud is no matter what happens to you, no matter how horrible it may seem, and you don't have to do it right away, don't hold a grudge. Forgive yourself unconditionally. Forgive those that have wronged you unconditionally. And I don't care if it's somebody that you absolutely hate. You don't have to forgive them face to face. You don't have to go up to them and say, I'm sorry, or I forgive you, or, because it's not for their benefit that we forgive. It's for our own, because when we hold on to those grudges, who's it hurting? Us.
Yeah, sure.
Like, do you think the person that hit your cat and drove away knows that you despise that person or even knows that you exist? No,
Right.
you can be upset that your cat was hit. You can be upset at the person that was careless enough to just drive away and thoughtless enough. But there comes a time when you should say, I forgive you. So, really, forgiveness is the thing that holds us back in this life, in the afterlife, in the world between the worlds. And yeah, I think it would be better for everybody just to say, stuff happens. I learned from it. And I forgive myself for going through it. And I forgive such and such for putting me through it. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel better. You won't carry those grumbling thoughts and those conversations you should have held because you let it go. You bring it to the surface. And it's same with traumas. You bring it to the surface gently. You acknowledge it. You name it. you let it go.
Absolutely. Oh my god. Daniel, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. This was such an amazing conversation. And guys, for those who are listening, I'm going to drop all of Daniel's information in the links below so that you could get a reading with him. You could get coached by him. And there's so many amazing things that he could help you with so that you can find your authentic self and get unstuck. So, thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next time on the 5 Flavors of Happiness.